This is Nine for California by Sonia Levitin, illustrated by Kat Bowman Smith. Pa sent a letter by stage. Come to California, my dears. I am lonely without you. And letter was a big blank bank note. All the money Pa had in the world. He had worked in the gold fields for a whole year. What good is gold, Pa wrote, without my family? The stage driver stopped us, shouting, Lady, put that sack on top with the other bags. It won't fit inside the stage. Yes, it will, said Mama. My girl Amanda will sit on the sack. And quick as a wink, Mama hoisted on her sack on board, and I sat down on top of it. It felt all the bumpy and lumpy, hard and soft. It was proud to be the one that Mama trusted. We all sat so close that our knees knocked together, 3 facing forward, 3 backward, and 3 in the middle. 6 horses pulled all their reins, ready to run. The driver jumped onto the high seat. Beside him sat the shotgun rider with a gun on his shoulder. Ye giddy-yap, cried the driver. With a creak and a rumble, a heave and a shake, we were off. Trees and houses spun away, dust flew in my eyes, my teeth rattled as we bounced and bumped and shook. Baby Betsy screamed. There, said Mama. Hush, hush, Baby Betsy threw up on her Hooper's lap. Oh dear, dearie me. Amanda, get me a rag from that sack. I reached in and got Mama the rag. She mopped up the mess. Mr. Hooper held his hat up high. Cowboy Charlie frowned over his lariat. Miss Camellia sniffed her perfume bottle. Baby Betsy got hiccups. Hic, hic, hic. It made Baby giggle, and Joe, Ted, and me. We laughed our giggle fits, rolling and punching on each other. Mr. Hooper grumbled to Mama, My good woman, how I hope you have something in that sack to keep these children quiet. We have only just begun, indeed, said Mama. From the sack she took a sugar lump for each of us. We sucked and sucked, even Baby Betsy. Back in the coach, my tummy felt funny. Beans and prunes acting up. We giggled and gurgled. We made faces and noises. Mr. Hooper glared at Mama and said, My good woman, can't you find something better for your children to do? Yes, indeed, Mr. Hooper, said Mama, and she called out, Plants! Plants, Billy, Joe, Ted, and I named all the plants we knew. Then we named all the animals and the birds, all the presidents, the states in the Union, and the oceans and the countries of the world. Mr. Hooper fanned himself with his hat. My good woman, he said, can't your children ever stop talking? Stop talking, children, said Mama. Let's sing. We sang a song we knew. We sang in English, some in French, and we started over in Pig Latin. Baby Betsy sang too. Wah, wah, wah. Miss Camelia's face got very red. Children should be seen and not heard, she said. Night fell. How much longer? I asked Mama. How much farther to go? Only 20 days more, Mama said brightly. Now we go to sleep. We slept on the stage, jostling and jiggling. In the morning, I felt a scrambled and sore. I looked out over the prairie with endless grass and endless wind. And the long, long hours moaning by, I was so bored I thought I might die. All day I waited and hoped for something to happen. It finally did. The sky went black. Jagged streaks of lightning crashed overhead. The horses shrieked and screamed. The coach pitched like a boat in the sea. Ice-cold rain came down, a sudden flood. Hailstones, the seas of turkey eggs, pounded the coach. We're sinking in mud, called the driver. Everyone out. We climbed out in the freezing rain and the mud. Everyone heaved and pushed until the coach was unstuck. Back inside the coach, we smelled like wet cats. Miss Camellia fluffed out her hair and touched the perfume to her curls. Mr. Hooper tried to reshape his hat. Cowboy Charlie wrung the water from his lariat. Everyone sighed. Baby Betsy cried. Mama nodded toward the sack. Nothing warmed the bones like a hot licorice whip, she said. Licorice whip, said she. I reached in and gave licorice to everyone. Mr. Hooper, Cowboy, Charlie, and Miss Camellia all smiled, and Miss Camelia's cheek turned red. The days dragged on. We ate beans and bread and prunes, and we liked them no better than we had to start. The long road never ended. I wished that something would happen. It did. From far off we saw brown and shaggy beasts, like a huge dark stain on the fair prairie grasses. Buffalo, shouted the driver. "Look out!" The shotgun rider turned and began to fire over the heads of the beasts. Thousands of buffalo ran straight towards our coach. We heard them roar. We smelled their smell. The coach shook like a leaf in a storm. Mama pulled the sack from out under me. "Pepper!" she cried. I reached for a jar of red pepper and gave a handful to everyone, except for baby Betsy. We leaned out the windows, ready. The buffalo came closer. I saw their flashing eyes. "Now!" shouted Mama. I tossed my pepper right into one of the noses of a huge buffalo, the first one in the herd. It made the buffalo sneeze and snort. The buffalo turned away and left our wagon standing safe. Days dragged on as before. Nothing changed but the sky, full of deep colors, then stars. I wish something would happen. It did. The coach stopped. Well, we fell forward. Two men stood in the road. They were masked. They had pistols. One said, "Give us your gold, your jewels, your silver." Mama rounded her mouth and blew. I reached into the sack for Billy's whistle. I blew three hard, piercing blasts. Startled, the rebels turned away. The driver and the shotgun rider and Cowboy Charlie jumped on the top of the outlaws. With this lariat, Cowboy Charlie tied the outlaws to a tree. We all climbed back onto the coach. We rode 4 days and days, nights and nights, up mountains and down again, across rivers into the endless dry desert. I hoped and wished that something would happen. It did. "California!" shouted the driver. "California!" shouted everyone, except for baby Betsy. She was finally asleep. "California!" I could hardly believe it. I was so happy. At the stagecoach stopped, about a million people came to greet us. One of them was my pa. Pa waved his hat and cheered and smiled. He picked Mama right up and gave her a kiss. When he saw us five, Billy Joe, Ted, baby Betsy, and me, he kissed us all and swung us around. He was so glad. Then Pa asked, "How was the trip? Anything happen?" "Nothing much," said Billy Joe, Ted, and I. Mama only laughed. Pa brought out our luggage, including the sack. Pa opened it and looked inside. He scratched his head. He smiled a crooked smile at Mama. "What a silly thing to do," he said, bringing an empty sack from Missouri to California. "I'm glad you've come to me, my dear. These children need something with good sense to take care of them." "Young'uns do need their pa, it's true," said Mama. She smiled at me and winked. Mr. Hooper, the banker, took off his hat and gave Mama a little bow. Cowboy Charlie laughed and laughed, his shoulders twitching kind of quiet. Miss Camellia, the teacher, gave Mama her little perfume bottle. "I'll never forget you," she said. The three turned to Pa. "Nice family," said Miss Hooper. "Good young'uns," said Cowboy Charlie. "Little ladies and gentlemen," said Miss Camellia. Billy Joe, Ted, and I kept our faces straight as we could not daring to laugh. Mama folded up the sack, and we headed for our new home. When we were settled in, Mama and I stuffed the sack with good feathers. On winter nights, we would lie in it, all five of us sometimes. Mama took rocking and swaying, pretending we were in the stagecoach, bound for California again. The end.